McKendrick here, another exciting episode of Business Berserkers, and today my guest is Liam Sherriff.
Hello, Liam.
From Natural Nutrients, and if you're a Dragon's Den geek, you might recognise his beautiful face. He did get the memo today about wearing similar shirts, yes, and rolling sleeves up, but it's a very warm day today.
Didn't get the no sock memo though, did you?
No socks and loafers he's gone for. I wish you could see this. It's a beautiful thing. I love a man in loafers and in a beard. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. So anyway, we could talk about loafers and beards, and we can also talk about how hot it is today. It's very, very hot. I don't know what day of the week you will be watching this, but today it is very warm. James is sitting there behind the camera, melting his little head off. Aren't you, James? He's nodding, yes. Oh, he's talking as well. Did you hear that? Beautiful. Liam!
Yes?
Dragon's Den. I love Dragon's Den, I do.
Right.
Tell me how it felt to walk out of that lift in front of the dragons.
It's totally surreal.
Surreal?
Yeah, that's the word that we always say when anybody asks us about it, because unless you do it, you don't know obviously what to expect. And I think what we found quite weird is when you think you're going to go out there and there's going to be key things that you want to stare at and obviously focus on for your pitch. First thing me and Craig noticed was Tuka Solomon's socks, because they were like bright bloody yellow, like that. Honestly, the most disgusting sock. He should go no socks actually, because it's so minging. And but it was quite like, you know, it was quite a surreal moment, obviously, and massive, like just adrenaline rush really.
Yeah.
We'd been waiting around quite a bit all day anyway, so it was very much by the time we got to that stage, we just wanted to go and smash it. But we, you kind of walk out and then you walk up to the table. We went and stood in the wrong bit, so we had to go back, re-record, walk forward again, and then the second time we stood on the wrong X's, so we had to go back and walk out again. And
your nerves will be going through the roof at that point, I guess. Did they allow you like a dummy run?
No. The one thing with the whole day, so the pitch itself's like unscripted and unedited to a point. So whatever gets said in the pitch that you do to them is, if they do edit, it's very minimal. So it's pretty much as it happened. So now once you leave the lift and you're in the den officially, nothing's extra recorded. It's just a one take. The stuff before that is where they record you walking around the corner about 20 times, staring at the lift door like an idiot. I think it's just to get you more sweaty. I mean, you'll see if you see, by the end of the pitch we're bloody sweating, but that's because you stood under lights for ages before, so. And
what was the objective then to go in with your company? What was the outcome you wanted?
To be 100% honest, I mean, obviously at the time we were raising investment anyway, so we were looking at kind of how we were going to grow from the position we were in. So we did have a genuine investment requirement, but equally we also knew if it went well, what an opportunity it is to expose the brand to 3 or 4 million people, or however many people watch it. So there was a bit of both really, but one thing we kind of talked about on the way down was, because we had old investors ourselves as well, it would have meant that any deal with the Dragons would have been a little bit complex to get over the line. So when we were seeing that on the train on the way down, so it was, if we get a deal, we'll try and make it work. At worst, we'll do our best and give our best account of ourselves and just get the exposure.
Who did you want though?
It's a bit of a funny story, this one, because they changed the Dragon on the day we recorded. So initially we thought Peter Jones, because he knows everybody, including the bloody Queen, I think.
Yeah. Is he really 8 foot tall as well?
About 9. He's massive. He's massive. He's huge. Oh mate, he's huge, and his teeth are so white. It's ridiculous. But he's a nice bloke, and off camera, they're as you expect. So for us, it was Peter because he's contacts and he's experience, and then Deborah because she's generally in ethical businesses. But as I say, on the day, we only found out when we got to the studio that I think it was Simon Jordan, Palace's chairman, was replaced with Tej Lalvani, who's CEO of Vitibiotics, the biggest vitamin company in the country. So when we found that out, we wanted him. Do you know what I mean? So.
And who did you get?
So we actually got 4 offers out of 5. So we never thought it was going to go that way. Like the first half an hour, I think we were both sat there thinking this is the worst thing we could have ever done. They just basically test you. So the first half an hour is just them testing you, throwing the kitchen sink at you, seeing your crap basically, and they're just waiting for you to kind of fight back at them. And
did you know your numbers?
I knew my numbers, mate. And
well done.
Yeah, cheers.
Got to know your numbers, folks. If you don't know your numbers, you can't change them.
And you know, and to be fair, 80%, 75% of the conversation is about that. And you know, if they're going to give you money, like any investor, as you know, like they want to know that there's some sort of financial management behind what the business is run off. So yes, I did, and you know, in the end, they must have liked us, like.
They did, because you got Peter and
so we did, mate. Yeah, so out of the four, it's a bit funny, but because we got 4 offers and the adrenaline's going, you're not really thinking clearly.
Go in the back of the room. Is that what you did?
You run the back of the room, talk to people must think there's somebody in the back of the room that you're having a quiet word with, but it's just a wall. It's like a fake studio wall. So first thing when we got back, I said to Craig, I went, oh shit, what were the offers again? And he was like, oh, I can't remember. So like the first 5 minutes we were sat thinking like, Deborah said this, Peter said that, and in the end we went back and did a deal with Tej and Peter on telly anyway. So
on telly,
yeah.
So can you talk about what happened off telly?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, obviously because it's all taken on face value, and genuinely the dragons don't know who you are, and you're not even allowed to see them in the corridor or anything, so it's all very well structured. So the first time you lift the cover off your products, that's the first time they've seen it, or you. So it is very much, you know, face value and genuine in terms of the investment process. But after that, you've got all the diligence phase, you know, all the due diligence, looking into the company, business planning. So we went down London a couple of times, met with Peter's investment director. You know, everything was fine. It was going ahead perfectly fine. But as I say, with our old investors, whatever deal we were trying to get to, because the Dragons want so much bloody equity, it was too much dilution for myself and Craig basically. So in the end, there wasn't like we're not going to do it. It was just like we couldn't actually get to a deal that worked for us as directors and owners. And to be fair to the Dragons, they were quite understanding of that as well. But so we couldn't go ahead with their investment, so we proceeded to seek investment elsewhere basically. But it was all, again, very amicable. It's very much, you know, that's what the real world of investment is.
Yeah.
So.
And knowing what you know now with that whole process, and would you have done anything differently during the pitch or after the pitch?
Not really. I mean, we were very fortunate that, first of all, our pitch that we said to them went better live than we'd ever rehearsed it. No, like, mumbling our words or out like that. But, and we all said, like, you know, the longer we get with people, the more we can get them to like us, because we're two just normal lads who've got a huge ambition, and we've got a generally good business and good products. So once people start to understand why we're doing what we're trying to achieve, then they normally get on board. So we were very happy actually with how it all went. From a business and investment point of view, we probably would have not done it and just went for the money quicker, and then maybe done it afterwards for PR, I don't know, because it did delay our investment coming in the end, which, you know, we only closed off a couple of months ago, and we're kind of like a year on now from recording. So yeah, that's probably it.
So you wouldn't have done anything differently at all?
Not really, no.
It's just all part of the process.
You've got to be yourself, mate. That's
yeah, be yourself, and you sought funding from elsewhere then?
We did, mate. Yeah, we just closed off on a Crowdcube campaign about 2 or 3 months ago now. We just closed off on a small private deal just last week actually as well. So we've gotten more than the Dragons offered for obviously a lot less equity. So we've got a much better deal. The business is a lot further forward, and a lot of the stuff we would have asked the Dragons to help us do, like the retail side of it, we're actually achieving without them anyway. So you know, you never regret anything. You just got to take it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, you just got to crack on and move on to the next thing. Like
so, crowdfunding,
yeah.
I don't know an awful lot about that either. So if you want any more advice on crowdfunding, Liam's your man.
Guy.
There's always a solution though. That's the thing, isn't it?
Definitely, mate.
If you look hard enough, you'll find help and you'll find a solution.
And often a better one than you thought you were going for in the first place. That's what
true.
I always find.
True. So tell me a bit about natural nutrients. You're how did you get into that line of business?
So I used to work as a personal trainer for maybe 5 or 6 years. Nutrition was a massive part of our coaching philosophy. And obviously without good food, it's very difficult for clients to get results. And
Can't out-train a bad diet, folks, can you?
No, definitely not.
It's cliche, but it's true.
It is. So, the natural progression from nutrition is supplements. So it's how do you fill gaps in your diet that your nutrition isn't filling, or how can you optimize what you're doing with your diet or your training. And that's what supplements do really. Whenever you see them marketed as anything super special beyond that, they're not really. They are exactly what they are: fill gaps, rectify, or optimize.
So I can't just drink a protein shake and I'll be like Popeye, like Cartman.
Nah, you won't look like The Rock tomorrow. As much as I'd like to tell you would, so buy all of our products.
Yeah, that's kind of how it's marketed, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
So I just started looking into different products and that, and the biggest problem, to be honest, was I had 15 clients or something in the end, and I'd be sending them all to loads of different places for cleaner, more natural version of this, and it was very hard to find one company that offered a quality, consistent ethos across the board, and that's when I had the idea to start Natural Nutrients.
Okay. So what's the difference between a clean supplement and do you call it a dirty supplement?
I'm not sure that's the right shit
not
one.
so clean.
Shit one.
Clean and shit.
Clean and shit, aye. Now, to be fair, I mean, it's all about the formulation, really. The thing is with the supplement industry, especially the boys at the top, the only thing they're bothered about is the margin. So they're very happy, like any industry really, food, the same, happy to sacrifice quality in favour of reducing the cost of the product. So what you'll find is you'll go and buy a vitamin, and you might have a vitamin D. In that product, you only really want the vitamin D. You don't want 7 bulking or filling agents that they've added to make it cheaper. And it was very difficult for us to find products that were only kind of mainly active ingredient, and then 1 or 2 excipients, as they're called, or non-active ingredients. Things that basically fill the capsule out. And so, I was trying to advise clients, as I say, go and try all this, go and buy this from here, this one from that one. And it was just a ball ache, mate. And they'd bring clients, they'd bring products back to me in sessions from Holland and Barrett or wherever, and I'd send them back with the product, say that's rubbish, that doesn't work, it's pointless, over marketed, whatever it is, whatever was on sale in the store. And as I say, that was the problem. So for us, we try to put. We don't use any artificial ingredients. We don't use unnecessary artificial ingredients, unlike most of our competitors. We're big on natural. We're big on making it, like say, clean as possible, with lots of allergen claims, gluten-free, soya-free, that kind of thing. So it's just making it kind of like pure. And what it means is our customers can buy from us with trust that if it's the protein powder or the vitamin, they know that they're getting a high quality of active ingredient, natural flavours, natural sweeteners, and just none of the crap that really doesn't have to be in there.
But in a market that is, it's saturated, isn't it?
It is,
my market is, there's so many people out there doing it, and they're quite happy to do it, lower the quality and lower the price as well. How do you stand out in a saturated market and get people to go on more than just price?
Yeah, well, it's a good point, because I mean, our products are priced according to quality, just like BMW cars are. So, BMWs are more expensive than Ford. We always see we're the BMW of supplements. So we're not, although we're building a mass market brand at the moment, we're not the cheapest product, but you get what you pay for. And for us, it's actually about staying, and this is a bit cliche, but staying true to what you actually believe the brand should do. So there's been hundreds of times over the years where our suppliers have said, here's a new ingredient, it can replace this one. Yes, but it's chemically manufactured. And I'm like, I don't want it, because it devalues the product that we are creating. So you have to really believe in why you're doing what you're doing with your product. And for me, it was like, what's the point in having a very good diet where you're eating lots of good quality food, and then having a supplement that's meant to improve your health that's full of crap? It just doesn't make sense. So why not have a better quality supplement without all the crap that does complement all the good food? Yeah. So you just got to believe in what you're about. And obviously education's a big part of that. So when we get the time to sit down with buyers or customers, we tell them all this about our supply chain, very transparent, which is a big thing for us. And it's not the fastest way to success, if I'm perfectly honest, because you've got to do that groundwork up front. But one thing we knew in our favour massively, especially at the minute, is everybody knows the food and nutrition market is moving towards, high quality, natural, clean, gluten-free being the standard. So in 3 years, when that is the standard, we would have built ourselves to such a pedestal that people come searching for the standard, find Natural Nutrients as one of the most established brands.
So you're kind of ahead of the game already.
We were a lot early, we were very early. It's something Deborah Meaden said. She said you're actually a bit too early for the mass market. But there's pros and cons to that. I mean, we probably could have threw more money at the business earlier on and kind of just created our own market and expanded that niche as the main brand in there. But at the same time, you know, you've got to have a wave in the market, haven't you, where enough people kind of pour into it and are interested in it. And the more crap products the bigger companies do, the better and more opportunities we have to say, well, yes, you might be paying 10 quid less for this, but do you know XXX? And here's our solution.
How then do you get the Joe Blogs, the protein supplement guy, who's just started his gym journey, like me, about 9 years ago, joined the gym, and I started buying every supplement and popping every pill and creatine and all this and gainer and bulker, and I just turned into a sack of tatties even more. How do you get the layman, the Joe Blogs, to actually see the difference and feel the benefit of a clean supplement?
Well, again, I mean, that's a good point actually, because for talking protein powder specifically, which is our bestseller, so one of the biggest complaints we used to hear of other brands is it makes us bloated, and you've probably had this yourself with certain brands, and often the reason they are bloated is because of the amount of ingredients that's going in that product that is then competing for absorption, often the fibres or the phosphors or the artificial ingredients, the flare and the gut up. So there's a lot going on when you've got a 16 ingredient protein powder for the body to digest versus ours that has 4 in. So we used to kind of listen to people, and I was thinking there's no reason you should feel bloated off a protein powder at all for what it is. So then people always say to us, I don't get bloated off yours. So one of the sort of physical benefits for protein specifically is that they can take it and they feel good when they've took it. They don't dread slogging it back after the workout because A, it tastes really nice as you've had it, and B, they don't get any kind of after effect of it. And it's the same with the other products, you know, like obviously there is that educational side again, trying to educate our customers to look at food labels. The government are even doing that a lot more now. So we just kind of ride off the back of whatever other people are doing, personal trainers, everyone who recommends our products. And because we never had millions of pounds as a budget, it is hard, that's the truth of it. But as I say, we rely on the market changes, the market trends, and obviously our Trustpilot and our reviews and all this feedback that we get from customers. And we know, like, it's not even that we think now, like, you know, categorically we know. I mean, I'm a consumer in this industry before I had the business, obviously, and I had every protein powder I could possibly get my hands on. We know we make very high quality products because, you know, our manufacturers know that as well. You know, their suppliers know that because of the ingredients that goes into it. So we're very confident to stand behind the quality.
Yeah. So yeah, you're solving a problem because people feel better with a cleaner supplement, and I think that's a huge deal, isn't it?
It is. If you eat, you know, a plate full of vegetables with your roast beef or a plate full of chips, which one are you going to feel better on? You know, it's not the same, but it's kind of the concept.
Get the concept. The business has been going 5 years now.
5 years officially, 2 years as a proper business really. So we're entering our third full proper year.
Tell me about the
not proper bit.
how a PT goes into a products business, completely different world.
Yeah.
Where do you even start?
God, we started on a Friday night actually, just a conversation
With a few of them.
With a few beers. It was actually not protein shakes, it was beers. But so Nick was a client of mine who first started the business with me, sort of 5 years ago now, and it was just a Friday night conversation. I was telling him of all the 10 different places I wanted to buy his products from. He was like, I'm not going to all them. Like, why don't you just have your own? And within 2 hours we would register the company on Company's House, set up the domain and stuff. And so it was quite, as most businesses are, like a trivial start. But
the next you just did it. You took some action and you did it. You started that ball rolling.
Definitely. And then we just started, going, because I did a lot of reading and educating myself. I kind of knew enough to look so that I knew what I was looking for in products. So I could know if I could look at a vitamin, I could see what should and shouldn't be in there. So it was quite challenging. In the first 6 months, we were looking for suppliers, and Nick didn't understand it at all because he was a financial advisor, just not nutrition at all. He was like, why can't we just have this product or this one? I was like, because it's crap. Like, I was like, you do the finance, I'll do the product development and stuff. So we started I started formulating a range that I thought would be, essential and useful to customers. I think there's about 12 products we launched with. And we used to ring suppliers all the time, and I was like, have you got a vitamin B? They were like, yeah, send us a formulation sheet. It had like 20 ingredients in. I was like, I don't want that. So it was more about trying to get the suppliers and the manufacturers to not give us what they give to everybody else.
Yeah.
And we kind of got so far with the minimum order quantities that we could afford to order, but we weren't as good as it is now because we just weren't at the volume.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of research.
At that point, at the research point, that the research doesn't bring you any money, does it? So what were you doing to maintain your lifestyle?
I still had clients, so when I talk about the first 3 years being not a proper business and a side business, it was run from home. So I would still, I think I had like a little part-time job in there as well sometime, client income coming in as a PT, and I didn't actually take anything from the natural nutrients business until about 2 years ago as a salary. So, and that's hard, you know what I mean? Because I was working, as we all do, all night, every night. The wife, fiance at the time, didn't have a clue what I was doing, why I was glued to my MacBook all the time, but I just kept saying, just wait, it's coming, it's coming. She gets it now, like, but so yeah, it was a tough first few years, like, and we just organically grew it. We didn't really know what we were doing, but we knew we had something that was at the start of an exciting niche.
Which leads me on to a question, actually. You didn't really know what you were doing, so am I right in assuming you didn't have a business plan?
No, mate. Nah, definitely not. And
you were winging it.
I was winging it, aye. And to be fair, I mean, it's because I like learning anyway. I don't consider that we ever did anything wrong.
Yeah.
Anything that we learned from is just something that now I definitely wouldn't do because we experienced losing money probably. But I enjoyed the process of learning cash flow forecasting, business planning, setting KPIs, objectives, all the stuff that you take for granted when you see a big, fully operational business and stuff we have in place now. But at the time, I wouldn't even have known them words to tell you. Do you know what I mean? So
knowing what you know now, would you have done anything different when you first started?
I think for this market specifically, I would have raised a load of money of investment, because imagine 5 years ago, if I was the one with £5 million investment behind us, we could have been dominating, to my protein level in our niche at this level now, and I would have invested all of that into sales and marketing. We kind of did it slightly the other way, and I think we talked about this the other week, where we kind of worked on building foundations and structure, and certainly when we got our first office, we kind of focused on buying an office space rather than increasing sales. And it's maybe it's a back to front way of doing it, but you're going to do both anyway at some point. So we're just a lot more ROI focused now. So everything we do is about return on investment. So, and that changes how you spend money.
And when you're setting up a new business, it's very, very easy to get excited about the little things. Let's design my business card, yes, and my logo and my website and all the stuff you get excited about that doesn't bring you any return, any money, basically. So and then when the honeymoon period wears off, and you're left with the reality of like, now I've got to earn a living.
Yeah. No, I've got no money. I've been through all that, like.
Brilliant. How do you go about it? We've talked about the customers. How do you go about making sure that you absolutely wow them and make sure they keep coming back for more?
Yeah, and again, I mean, like, most of my jobs, including the PT job, was before Natural Nutrients was service based. So, I was always the type who, if I rang somewhere and I didn't get the solution straight away, it used to pay us off. Do you know what I mean? And customer service, as time goes on, is just getting worse, like everywhere. So even as a small business, even now, we're still very focused on over-delivering for the customer. So we kind of always monitor, delivery time scales. Is our courier meeting the time scales that they guaranteed us? We can obviously see if there's any spikes in returns. Honestly, mate, in 5 years, we must have had 6 returns.
Wow.
That's a huge, as we scale up a lot more, obviously that may increase, will increase, but I think by having a good website on the front end, that's fairly easy to transact through. That's the number one frustration for customers with an e-commerce company. If they can't buy, they go mental.
Yeah.
Even more so if they can't, because they're desperate to give you money. So if there's a barrier to them, checking out, then they get annoyed. So then once it leaves the kind of checkout process, are they getting email confirmations through? Keeping them informed, basically. So we've just changed to Royal Mail as our courier recently and come away from our old one because it's a much better service, a text message tracking, and they can just monitor all the way. And it's only been about 6 weeks, but we've already noted. I mean, we had very few problems anyway, but they've all just been eradicated. And so we're always looking at improving our service. And then they get the product, and 9 times or 99 times out of 100, they like the product because it's a good product. So we think from start to finish, we're doing as much as we can to keep them happy, and that's the key. If you do everything well, but you've got a crap product, they're going to tell you about it, and then they're not going to care about your good courier or your good website or your customer service because the product's crap.
Yeah.
So it is hard because you're limited when you're small, but you have to try and do every bit of interaction with the customer as best you can.
And how do you work on the strategies for constant improving? You said you didn't have a plan. Is it correct? So you do have a plan now?
Yeah, I mean, God, me, I've written so many business plans in the last year for investment purposes. 'Cause investors love a bloody business plan. But what we do that's more tangible to monitor is, and it's something I tell everybody about, is every quarter I'll draft up kind of like a document of objectives and KPIs that we want to achieve in the next 3-month period, and then that kind of helps formulate a whiteboard that we've got with that quarter broken down. It's very, very simple actually, but it's been the most...
Simple works.
It is, mate, and this has been the most beneficial for us. So what you'll do is you'll put your main objective, say, start international export or whatever it is, and then if that's a task for that quarter, you might think you want to do that in July. So then you'd write that in July. If you want to launch a new product in Q3, but that might be August, you write that in August. And in the end, you have a whiteboard with July, August, September, and the top level objectives that you want to achieve. Realistically, that should then formulate your day-to-day tasks that you're working towards to meet that bigger goal.
Yeah.
And it's a bit of a mindset thing and a bit of a discipline thing where you have to not live in your email inbox all the time, because we're all doing it. It's very tempting. But try and think, actually, this is the month, here's my task, what am I doing every day to achieve them?
Yeah.
So we do have a back-end business plan, obviously, in a forecast, but from a day-to-day operational sense and a weekly meeting, monthly meetings, it's all filtered from this board.
Yeah.
Simple, but it works.
Simple, but it works.
Definitely.
That's a hashtag, that. Simple works. No, I like that, the whiteboard,
Yeah.
but basically it's, making buying easy,
Definitely.
having a great quality product, and then actually working out what you want your business to grow into.
Absolutely.
And having a plan to map it all out.
Reputation's everything in it, and customers' review is still the biggest seller ever.
You mentioned distractions and in the dreaded email. How do you go about then making sure that when you turn up for work, you can get what you need to done. What you need to done, what you need to do, you get it done.
Yeah.
You knew what I meant.
I did, mate. Well, to be fair, when we move premises, we're going to have our own office, actually, me and Craig, so that'll stop anyone talking to us, which will be the biggest thing. But I often find myself saying, like, I need an hour, don't talk to us for an hour like that, or 2 hours, because I'm busy working on, some strategy or something where, financially I need to focus. But I think we've always been quite lucky that in the small team we're all very focused towards the end goal ourselves. So, in the few staff that we have, everyone understands, because I'm very, anyway, as you'll know, I'm always very outward with what I want to achieve. Everyone who knows us knows I'm ambitious, and I always talk about what I want to achieve, and I'm the same in the office, so the staff know that they're not coming in just for a job, they're coming in because we're all trying to build something that's amazing in the end. So that definitely helps them come in with a better attitude rather than coming in just typing away, doing emails and thinking that we're going to be happy with it. So that's one of the ways, and then that allows me to work on my bigger projects, and then they respect that I'm working on that. But we've got so many opportunities ongoing all the time that we physically don't have time to sit there and think, what are we doing? It's like, right, we finished this one, what's the next thing? And again, it comes from that board. So if you ever got stuck, you walk to that whiteboard and you see your next objective for the month, you just start working on it.
Good. I like that strategy.
It was never always like this, by the way. I make it sound good now, but like back in the day, we were just running all over.
Yeah, like
packing boxes in the warehouse.
I feel But tell me, what have been some of the most pivotal, rewarding moments over the last few years?
I think, to be fair, I mean, obviously Dragon's Den was a massive thing. You know, to go on there and to do very well and win in the Den effectively, that was a huge achievement, you know, personally and for the business. But prior to that, I think when we first got our listing in Fenwick Food Hall in Newcastle, you know, before that we were very much online. We've still got a decent online, you know, business.
So Fenwick's, for people who don't know from the northeast, Fenwick's is a huge department store in Newcastle. So that's awesome, that.
It is, mate, and you know, obviously locally it's very, very well known. There is ones around the country, but it doesn't necessarily carry the northeastern Fenwick, you know, persona. But at the time we knew nothing about retail buyers, we knew nothing about trade pricing. You know, we were doing some small trade accounts selling to some PTs, but it was nothing like what they wanted, barcoding, packaging. So that massive learning curve again. We've just went through it again with the Morrisons and stuff, and so that was a massive achievement. I remember the day when we took the photo when we all stood there sampling. I think it was me, my wife, and then obviously Craig were buzzing, like, you know what I mean. And you've got to kind of like when we talk about that time, which was I think 2 years ago, versus what we talk about in the office today. Like it's amazing when you reflect on how far you've come. But unless you think about it, and we don't tend to think about it because we're always focused on doing the next thing. You don't want to be too romantic about what you've achieved. Like, enjoy it, celebrate it, but the next day you're straight on to it. But that was one. And then, you know, go on, mate.
How do you go about getting your product into a big store like that?
Oh,
Is that part of the strategy, or did that just sort of was that a bit of luck?
Yeah, well, I'll not disclose everything in case there's some other supplement companies watching, but to be fair, it's a lot of persistence. So my two things in business is always, as a trade, you need to have persistence and resilience. If you have them two things, you'll do all right in the end. But with the retailers, or any shop, even the smaller retailers, you've got to think that for their buyers, you're not a priority to them at all. And if they've never heard of your brand, you know, it's very hard to build a brand with massive awareness, like Coca-Cola, where they're like, hi, it's Coca-Cola, they're going to talk to you. Hi, it's Natural Newtons. Who? And you've got to explain yourself. So you have to understand that. So you have to work out how to get them to listen to you, first of all. And we always said if we get a meeting, we'll get the seal, because we've got the product, we've got the seal spiel, we've got, you know, good quality USPs and stuff. So the first step is really just hammering the shit out of them until they decide to meet you. So you email, phone, and just keep going. The bigger retailers, we hire an agency to facilitate meetings for us now, because they've kind of come away from ever taking phone calls now. So buyers only deal with email, and they only really deal with people that already know, like our sales agency who've been dealing with them for years. So it's very much a networking thing. Go to a show, you know, where's your product stocked from another brand. If the brand owner's okay, he'll share the buyer contact details. But you just got to keep going, mate. There's
persistence.
Sometimes the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
There's no like magic tool. We used to think there was, but there isn't. You just got to hustle.
Getting out there is what you touched on. You know, you can't just stay in the four walls of your bedroom or your office. You've got to get out there, haven't you? Network and build up your contacts. So that's brilliant. Getting in Fenwick's and any other big names on the on the horizon.
One or two, but I mean, locally Ramside Hall. You know, all the County Durham facilities. So I think we're in 6 now, which is going to be 10 shortly. So that's another good local one. Obviously, we've got wholesalers who supply to stores up and down the country. We actually delivered our first trailer load to Morrison's supermarket this morning, so I'm a lot more relaxed this afternoon.
Morrison's?
I was
the posh supermarket.
Well, yeah, you can call it that, but I think we've got about between 60 and 80 stores, depending on the line that we're listing with them. But it's going to go up to 100, hopefully by the end of the year, and hopefully 200 next year. But and then we can't really mention the names, but we've got 2 other major supermarkets who have managed to get into their range reviews for August, September, and about November. So basically, a range review is twice a year the supermarkets or the large chains of stores will review their products, and then they'll replace any products that aren't selling well with new ones. But because it's only twice a year and they're planning 6 months ahead, you have to time it right to get considered. So if we miss this one with Morrison's, we would have probably had to wait till next year. So you can't really rely on it, really. It's very volatile.
But so things sound like they're going to plan, but it's not all steady away and smooth. What are your biggest headaches or challenges at this very moment in the strategy in the business now?
Cash flow is always a challenge. Doesn't matter if you've got 100 million turnover or 1 million, it's always going to be a problem, especially when you've got a product business, because the minute you buy product, you've got cash in stock, you're not tied up in stock in the warehouse. So if you're not selling it and liquidating it quick enough, then you could end up going bust. We've ran it close, to be honest, over the last couple of years, where we've been over-investing in development and some opportunities that didn't return, and then tying money up in stock because you think you're going to get a big order which doesn't materialise, and you're like, what are you going to do with all this stock? So, product businesses and services business, I find it entirely different. You have to be really conscious of your cost of goods. Hiring and recruitment, we've had loads of work experience, intern apprentices over the last couple of years. We're about at the stage now where our next hires have to be experienced staff, because we need ownership, people to come in and take jobs off us, basically. So we're going through a premise move as well, just to keep us busy. So when we move premises, we're going to go from kind of 4 or 5 staff up to about 10 or 11. So we're going to be hiring. It is, mate. So we're going to be hiring at least 3 in the next 6 months. And again, if you hire them, you spend all that time, 3 months recruiting, get them in. After 2 months, the crap, you're back to square one. So that's a big headache, because it's just purely administrative, and it's just time that we don't want to spend doing it.
So the two most common things then for any business, staff and cash flow, always the headaches, like you see, regardless of whether you turn over 100 grand or 100 million.
Definitely, mate.
So, you're a busy man.
A little bit.
You're also a father, a husband,
a
man that wears loafers and no socks. How on earth do you strike the balance to wear all these hats and fulfill these roles and do them well?
To be fair, I mean, again, this is probably the third biggest challenge actually of a small business owner, is working out what hat you should have on each day, because you do always get dragged into different things. And I think the reality is, I know we always joke about this, but when you're running a business, it is 5% glamorous stuff and 95% crap. People see the tip of the iceberg stuff, the Dragon's Den, the Morrisons, the big highlights, but they don't see all the other stuff that you're doing, from not only 9 till 5, but 7 when you wake up on your emails to bloody 12, like it was last night with me on a bloody forecast for a supplier. So you've got to be prepared to put the hours in, basically, and you physically cannot fit it all in a normal working day. So if you're running a business or wanting to start one, I think you have to understand that if you really want to get it somewhere, you have to go, and put hours in well above and beyond what you'd be expected to if you were an employee.
And it's going to hurt a little, isn't it?
It's going to hurt me, and we're talking to James before, I don't think I'm anything special by any means, or any other business owner is, but I have respect for business owners, because I don't think everybody could do it, because it either makes you or breaks you. And loads of times it's nearly broken me. I've learned loads about myself when we've been under the cosh. And but it was hard on me. My son's 16 months now, and then first few, for his 5-6 months, I just couldn't do it. I couldn't get my head around how I could be a dad and a husband, and then still run the business and work every hour. And Michelle wasn't happy, obviously, because I was trying to do everything, and you just do as much as you can with what you've got. And in the end, it does get easier, and that's one thing I found. Yes, you're gonna get ups and downs. Even when everything's good, everything might sound good for us now, but there's a lot of things that we need to work on. You just have to be resilient and keep going through it, and persistent, and knowing that whatever you're going through now is going to get easier. And that's it, really. Just remembering what you're doing it for.
So is it as fun and glamorous as you thought it was going to be?
Definitely not me. It is the 5% glamorous. Everyone's like, oh, let's start a business. I'll have loads of income, set my own hours, go on holiday, and never work. I just got back from holiday last week, and that was the first one in 7 years where I actually didn't work. and I've had a lot of holidays in that time. Right, holidays. So I feel like normal people feel like when they have a holiday.
So you've actually had a holiday, a
I
rest.
actually had a break, mate.
Excellent.
I did do a little bit, but not enough to worry about it.
To get grief from Michelle.
Basically.
Yeah. So it's 5% glamorous and 95%
whatever you want to call it. Hard work.
hard work.
Yeah.
But it gets easier.
It does, mate. And the longer you go, the better it gets.
Yeah. Lots of golden nuggets in there. I like
I
it.
hope so.
I like it.
Good.
So, if people want to know more about Liam, the Sherriff, the Sheriff's in town, Natural Nutrients, where do they go to?
Any social channel, just search Natural Nutrients, obviously on Instagram, Facebook. Find me, drop us a message if you want, personally. I'm always up for helping, and I don't know everything, but we've had to learn a lot in a short space of time, so I'm happy to pass on.
And the website is?
naturalnutrients.co.uk. for our full
Check it out. And if you want to reel them in, is there a little sample freebie that they get?
Well, if they watch this video and drop us a message through the site and see they've watched this video, then I'll sort them out a free sample box.
Boom! There you go.
Not put us on the spotlight.
I know, put him on the spot, it's the best way. That's been excellent. Thank you very much for coming in, Liam. You're
Pleasure.
a beautiful man. Let's hug it out. Good man.
Cheers,
It's Gary McKendrick, Business Berserkers, Liam Sherriff. Have a good day, y'all.